Hey there, I'm Whitney Morgan from morgannutrition.com, and today I'm going to tell you about 3 unexpected foods where gluten might be hiding in your pantry. And if you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's or any other autoimmune disease, going gluten-free should be at the top of your to-do list. Now, I've created a mini course teaching you how to establish a gluten-free house in just 5 weeks. And purging your pantry of all forms of wheat and gluten is the topic of lesson 2 of my Gluten Gauntlet mini course. If you want to make sure to make the most of your gluten-free lifestyle, follow me on Instagram, like my Facebook page, and if you're tuning in on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified every time I make a new video. Okay, the first thing that most people do when they make the decision to go gluten-free is to start cleaning out their pantry, their refrigerator, their kitchen cupboards, and getting rid of everything that contains wheat or gluten. And usually this means they focus on reading labels. And don't get me wrong, reading labels is super important, but it's rarely enough, because wheat and gluten can find their way into your food and never show up on the label. And the result is that you keep getting contaminated in your own kitchen and you can't figure out how it's happening. And that's why lesson 2 of my Gluten Gauntlet mini course is so important, because if you're going to all the trouble of inspecting all of your food, you want to make sure you get the job done right. So today I'm going to tell you about 3 common products where wheat and gluten often hide, but they never show up on the label. The first product is ground coffee. While coffee is naturally wheat and gluten-free, it can get contaminated through the grinding process. The reason is because when you buy your coffee beans already ground, or when you have them ground for you, say at the supermarket or at the coffee shop, both flavored and unflavored coffees are ground in the same industrial coffee grinders. And the source of contamination here is the flavored coffees, because natural and artificial flavorings are often derived from wheat-based ingredients. Current labeling laws don't require manufacturers to disclose individual ingredients in their flavoring formulas. Instead, they allow them to list those flavorings as natural flavors or artificial flavors. The problem is that you will never know if an individual ingredient in that particular batch of natural flavorings was derived from wheat. So anytime flavored coffees are ground in these big industrial grinders, the grinder itself becomes a potential source of contamination for the next batch of coffee that's ground. So if you're a coffee drinker, purchase only unflavored coffees and please grind your coffee at home. Okay, the second food item to be very cautious about is any item that's purchased out of a bulk food bin in a grocery store. Bulk food bins in grocery stores carry a high risk of contamination for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that these bins aren't dedicated for individual products. For example, the bulk bin that you've gotten your raw almonds out of might have been used last month to store something like pearl barley or wheat flour. So the source of the contamination is the residue left behind from the previous product. So another way that bulk foods can get contaminated is actually like in the back room, right? Where they have the big bags of all the products and then they have scoops to load the bulk bins up. And these scoops aren't dedicated either. So a scoop that was used to fill up the bin of whole wheat flour is also used to fill up the bin for your raw organic almonds, hence the contamination. So I recommend just avoiding bulk bins altogether. Now, another option is you can talk to the individual grocery store, ask them, do they have dedicated scoops? Do they have dedicated bulk bins? Usually the answer is no, but you might get lucky. Your safest option, buy your nuts and your seeds and all of your bulk items in individually sealed packages produced in facilities that do not process wheat or gluten. All right, the third product is your oh so tasty bottle of wine. Now, most people consider wine to be the naturally wheat and gluten-free alcoholic beverage, right? But actually, wine can get contaminated in a couple of ways. So the first way is if the wine that you're drinking is aged in wooden barrels. because it's common practice for the slats of the wooden barrels to be glued together with wheat paste, which is basically glue made out of wheat, right? So as the wine ferments, the acids of the wine interact with the wood in the barrel, and you get a leaching of wheat or gluten into the wine, and it becomes a source of contamination. Now, another way that wine can get contaminated is during the fining process. The fining process occurs after the wine has aged, and it's a process during which different flavorings and compounds can be added to the wine to improve its flavor, but those ingredients do not have to be disclosed on the label. And again, just like with flavored coffee, some of these natural flavorings that are used in the fining process may be derived from wheat-based ingredients. When it comes to alcohol, I think the safest bet are highly distilled spirits, so like your vodkas and your tequilas. So just to recap, we talked about ground coffee, foods from bulk bins, and wine. Now, protecting yourself from these potential sources of contamination gets you one step closer to a truly gluten-free house. But here's the deal. When it comes to creating a gluten-free house, it's not just about the food. That's why my Gluten Gauntlet mini course is such a valuable resource for you. It's going to give you a comprehensive step-by-step strategy to ensure your success at creating a gluten-free house. Now, right now, you can get lesson 1 for free, and when you do that, you can also get an exclusive discount when you upgrade to the complete course. To get more information on the course, just click on my bio link if you're on Instagram, click on my Facebook page banner if you're watching there, and if you're on YouTube, just use the link that I post in the video notes. And remember, if you have Hashimoto's or you have any other autoimmune disease, going gluten-free is an absolute necessity. And you're not gluten-free if your house isn't gluten-free. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. See you next week.